All right, we're going to have some fun here. We not only have one, but we have two former chairs of the Council of Economic Advisors. For example, we have Tomas Philipson, former CEA chair. We have, I think he's at the University of Chicago out there someplace. And we have Tyler Goodspeed, former CEA chair, and he is in the left coast at Hoover Institution, where I heard they have no power, so he has to go on some other device. No power. That's a topic for another segment. No power. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, it is good to see both of you, old friends. I served with both of these super smart people. Tyler, let me begin with you. I'm just making the case, I reckon you heard it in the opening riff. I can't be sure inflation is peaked. And if it's peaked, I can't be sure it's coming down much. And there's some measures, when you look at these trimmed mean indexes, which have become more and more important right out in Cleveland and Dallas, it actually shows inflation is broadening, not narrowing or falling. So what is your expert CEA take on the inflation story right now?
Well, it's good to be with you, Larry and Thomas. And yes, it's the second time in a month that we in the Silicon Valley have had rolling blackouts. So, Larry, I think you're right that at the end of the day, inflation is a function of two things. It's about inflation expectations, and it's about those, I'll call them temporary demand pull, cost push pressures. And even as some of those start to dissipate, the fact that expectations have risen means that there's going to be a lot more inertia in the inflation that we're seeing. And that's why it's not just the trimmed mean that you pointed out. It's also the underlying inflation gauge, the trimmed mean measure of inflation, the weighted median, and sticky CPI. And all of those are pointing to an inflationary problem that's actually worse in recent months than 3-6 months ago.
You know, Tyler, also, it just occurs to me, the New York Fed survey of consumer spending. And, you know, you look out 1 year, it's nearly 7%, 2 years, nearly 4%. No, 3 years, nearly 4%. That's a long time. And even 5 years, it's nearly 3%. What I'm suggesting, Tyler, is that's another indicator that inflation fears have become embedded. But maybe most importantly, Tyler, and we'll get Tomas to weigh in on this, all of that, plus the CPI, plus the PPI, plus the trim mean, that's way above the Fed's 2% target. And so my point is there is no miracle cure for inflation. The mistakes were made a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and it's going to be really difficult and take several years to get out of it. That's what I'm thinking. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the lesson of the 1970s is that sometimes inflation can even survive a mild recession. I mean, remember, Arthur Burns got inflation back down from about 6.4% to below 3%, and even that wasn't enough to really get those expectations back to anchor. And I actually have an academic paper that'll be coming out pretty soon that looks at how consumers do forecasting inflation versus professional economists. And it turns out that professional economists usually do an okay job, better than consumers. But once inflation gets up above 3.5%, suddenly the consumers are acing all these tests of forecast rationality because they're paying a lot of attention to prices. And I think that's the dynamic that takes a while to wring out.
Tomas Philipson, you probably heard, you know, the White House riff on this is, well, June's the last bad month. It was all history. Nobody's going to care about the June number that comes out tomorrow. Gasoline prices coming down. World oil prices coming down, and basically, you know, apart from Vladimir Putin, we're going to be okay. What do you make of that?
Well, on the inflation front, I think, you know, the energy crisis we have is kind of a foreign policy failure as opposed to a domestic policy failure. It's a foreign policy failure because Trump prevented Russia from going into Ukraine, even though Obama and Biden didn't. So apparently, foreign policy was more successful in preventing that from happening. It's in addition to a domestic policy failure, obviously, with the regulations hitting the energy sector in the U.S., but both those things, U.S. coming down in supply, Russia coming down in supply, is why we're where we're at in the energy sector. In terms of overall inflation, I agree with Tyler. So if you look at this, inflationary period, inflation expectations by consumers are much more accurate than the Fed forecasters in this inflationary time, the last year, essentially. And I think, it's kind of understandable. Consumers are very sort of pessimistic of that DC can fix this problem. Inflation is a government-induced disease, essentially, that only can be cured, unfortunately, by the government, even though the government is very poor at diagnosing the disease many times. So I think it's correct that people living in the economy, that is, consumers and companies, are seeing this a lot sharper than politicians or bureaucrats not living in the economy trying to forecast the problem.
Tomas, in the fight against inflation, you think it's a very clever idea to impose Medicare price controls? And by the way, before you answer that, I'm not going to allow you to talk for 3 hours on it. We only have a little bit of time. But you know what? Drug prices are one of the few areas where prices are either flat or falling, and they want to control them. Now, do you think that's a clever idea to fight inflation?
Yeah, it's a Nixonian strategy to go after inflation with price controls. It's a disaster, right? So, but this bill is very much a disaster. It's going to kill, according to our calculation, 31 times the death toll of COVID over the next 15 years, particularly in cancer, which is negating the president's moonshot initiative. But the most dramatic part of this bill, it's called the Medicare negotiation bill. Guess what happens if you don't agree with Medicare? You get a 95% tax on your sales. So this is like someone selling their house, and the buyer, if you don't agree with the buyer gets the house. It's just crazy that they call this negotiation. It's forced pricing on the industry, and it's going to lead to a lot of deaths in the future, foregoing a lot of innovation.
Tyler, you are old enough to remember Nixon. Tomas just threw that out there. You're okay with that? Just checking. You old enough to remember when Reagan won his landslide in 1984? That was the most time Americans ever came together on any one subject. Anyway, I digress. Tyler, how about the brilliant idea of raising marginal tax rates on small business pass-throughs, large corporations with a minimum tax that's, book value minimum tax, overseas minimum tax, which may or may not get stalled. I hope it gets stalled. But if you get all those tax hikes, what will that do to the economy and inflation?
Well, yeah, talk about a way to throttle the supply side potential of the U.S. economy, and you're threatening small businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises with a big tax hike at the very same moment that, if you look at surveys of small businesses, they are saying that the economy, in terms of the response of, do you expect the economy to expand from here? And they are answering at the worst rate in the history of the survey. They do not, no one expects the economy to expand. I mean, this is at below recession levels. And similarly, if you ask them, is now a good time to expand your business? And it's at recession levels, the response on that. So this is piling an enormous tax burden on top of companies at the very same moment where they are expressing anxiety at levels really only observed during recession.
You think about it, fellas, we got to get out. You've been great. You start raising up these marginal tax rates on businesses. Okay, now, I know the lefties in the Biden administration and the Congress hate business. I get that. But the incentive effect will be so bad, you tax something more, you're going to get less of it. Not only will that deepen the recession, it'll make the inflation worse. Supply side tax hikes, I can't think of anything worse, Tomas. Did you recommend that? Was that your memo, Tomas Philipson?
I think it was yours, Larry, if I don't remember wrong. So here's the weird part about this.
Last 20 seconds.
Weird part. I have a lot of issues with Keynesian who want to boost the economy in recessions. This reconciliation package now is a surplus policy in a forthcoming recession. They're basically trying to collect more taxes than they're spending, according to the latest rumors. And if that's the case, I don't know what could justify that kind of policy. Usually Keynesian want to have, deficit spending when you have a recession coming. We're on the verge of a recession, essentially. And here we go with a surplus program, which is crazy, in my opinion.
Crazy in your opinion. I had a partner once, a co-hosting partner who was a terribly bright guy. He had a phrase for all this: dumb as wood. That's what he used to say. You ever met Wood? Wood is pretty dumb. Anyway, 2 CEA chairs. That could be TV history. Tomas Philipson and Tyler Goodspeed. You're both fabulous. Thank you, gentlemen. Talk soon.